After the Raptors became the 14th team in NBA history to force a Game 6 after trailing 3-0, Raptors fans are feeling extremely confident, and in today's video, I'm going to explain to you why 76ers fans should really be panicking, because the Raptors are dominating this series. Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? It's Jacob here, back with Amateur Hour Sports for another Toronto Raptors YouTube video. If you want the greatest coverage and analysis on the latest Toronto Raptors news, then you need to be subscribed to Amateur Hour Sports, and this video is powered by Betstamp. The Betstamp app offers the best in sports bet tracking and odds finding. Betstamp will automatically tell you which one of your favorite sports books is giving you the best odds and best value for that sports wager that you already wanted to make. Right now, you can use the link in the description to sign up to the Betstamp app and start saving money on your bets, and use code RAPS, R-A-P-S, on referral to let them know that I sent you there. But let's get into our content for today's video. The Toronto Raptors are in Game 6 tonight at home, and honestly, how did we get to this point? The Toronto Raptors are down 3-0 in this series, and I gotta admit, I was feeling down, really didn't think the Raptors were able to do this. I mean, how could I feel like they could do it? No team in the 75-year history of the NBA has won a series after trailing 3-0. Only 13 teams before the Raptors forced a Game 6. Only 3 forced a Game 7 before ultimately losing. So forgive me for feeling down at that point. But the Toronto Raptors legitimately can do this. And the reason Raptors fans are feeling this confident, well, there's actually multiple reasons that we are going to get to over the course of this video. The first reason is really that the Raptors have just been flat out dominant in the last 3 games. In Game 5, the 76ers took a 2-0 lead when James Harden hit a layup and didn't lead for the rest of the game. In Game 4, sporadically earlier on in the game, they had a lead here and there, but nothing substantial and nothing that lasted for a significant period of time. And in Game 3, despite it being generally a close game, especially throughout the entire second half, the 76ers did not lead for the first 48 minutes of the game and only started to lead in overtime. If Pascal hits one of the 2 free throws late on in that Game 3, potentially we're looking at a 3-2 series for the Raptors, but we don't know how the Raptors would have been motivated for Games 4 and 5. We don't know if the Sixers would have scored to ultimately win the game in regulation, knowing that Achua had given the Raptors a lead. We don't know. That's all water under the bridge at this point. We are here at this point, Game 6 tonight in Toronto. And again, we're coming off the back of 2 amazing performances, but how have those performances been so good against a 76ers team that is this talented, that has Joel Embiid, that has former MVP James Harden? Well, the Raptors, like I said in my previous video, have figured out this Philadelphia offense. We're at a point right now where we're content to allow James Harden to beat us if he wants to, if he dares to. And at this point in the series, James Harden has done nothing overly spectacular. James Harden's still a star, creates so many opportunities for other players, but he's struggling to put up 20 points in this series when like an old James Harden was averaging like 36 points in a season. We're content for James Harden to do that. That is not going to get the 76ers to win. Joel Embiid is in a position to give Sixers wins on his own, but at the moment, the Raptors are doing such a good job of just gassing him. Like he's so tired. He is so tired. That's why I'm kind of upset we had 2 days off between Games 5 and 6, because we worked Joel Embiid so hard in Game 5. Like, Joel Embiid, his conditioning is fine. I'm not calling that into question, but he's like almost 300 pounds, 7 feet tall. His body is not built for this. Like Joel Embiid is a player who averages in the low 30s per minute, under 35 minutes, like usually around 32, 33 minutes a game. And right now, the 76ers are having no choice but to play him 40 minutes. And you could really see in Game 5, the Raptors went one-on-one, like hunting Joel Embiid in isolation because his defense was so poor. They took 6 straight possessions right at him and scored all of them in Game 3 because he was just so tired. The 76ers need to take him off the court, but the problem is right now that when he's off the court, they're even worse than when he's actually on the court. So if we're forcing Joel Embiid to play 40 minutes, he's going to be much less effective in those minutes than you would expect him to be if he was getting more reserve minutes. But the 76ers at this point simply have no choice but to keep him going in the game. And the Raptors are doing a much better job of keeping themselves out of foul trouble, to the point where, like, if Joel Embiid's right at the rim, they kind of just let him score because they don't want to avoid foul trouble, and you're not really going to stop that 7-foot-tall machine in the paint, really. So they're accepting their fate there, making him work harder on defense, and it got to a point in the second half where Joel Embiid was starting to settle for a lot of like 3-point shots, which he normally hasn't done in this series, but because he has been so tired, he is forced to do that. He is forced to give up a lot of his game, and that is such a key factor for the Raptors. Even though we're still focusing a lot on Joel Embiid, the less focus on James Harden allows us to put more focus on players like Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris, who have done so well in this series. That is why the Raptors are confident. That is why the Raptors fans are confident at this point. But it also goes beyond that. I think the confidence is like the 76ers could win this series tonight. We know that. We have to recognize the Sixers could win Game 6 and win the series tonight. If they win this series, I believe they've still lost. And they've lost in the sense that their fans have really lost faith in this current team. They really have lost faith in this current team. And the point proven for that is in Game 5 when they booed their own team. Like, I'm not fully against booing your own team, but under the right circumstance. They were down by 14 points with a lot of time to go in the second quarter. I remember it correctly. The Raptors won the first quarter. They were up 29-27. The second quarter, the Raptors started with a 12-0 run. I believe Joel Embiid was on the bench. It was 41-27. And there had to have been like at least 7 minutes left in the second quarter. And Philly fans were booing their own team. Like in Game 3, the Raptors were up 38-21 and still lost. Like that is a manageable comeback for the 76ers. But Philly fans booed their own team. And it was because it wasn't just for that game. It was the buildup. It's the constant buildup that the 76ers give their fans ultimately for it to just be crushed. And I'm not saying that to be cruel, but that is just what's happened over this trust the process era. In the final year before the Philly fans had to start trusting that process, 76ers made the second round of the playoffs. In the entire trust the process era, they have not made it beyond the second round either. So they have not been able to accomplish anything better than the team that they thought was not good enough, and they had to blow it up, completely rinse the organization, and begin to tank. That is why there's a very big impatience among 76ers fans. And even if the Sixers win this series, 76ers fans, it really does seem like they have lost confidence in the players on this team and the team's ability to really make a big push in the playoffs. I think that they've gotten very lucky that if they get out of this series, they don't have to play Boston or Milwaukee in the second round, and I think they'll take the Miami Heat. I truly believe the 76ers should be favorites in that series, but the way they've played here and the way Miami have looked defensively, that's not a shoo-in. So if the 76ers don't get out of the second round, if they don't get to the conference final, and if they don't get that conference final to 6 games at least, I think this season will be looked at as a failure by the 76ers. And at that point, there's going to be questions about the team, questions about the coaching, questions about the general manager. I think Doc Rivers' job is on the line right now. Daryl Morey's job is on the line right now. James Harden, his contract is on the line at this point. And there's obviously a lot of pressure on this team. And you can really feel the pressure getting to the 76ers. And this is just part of the Raptors' confidence. You feel the panic within the 76ers. You feel it when Joel Embiid calls out James Harden in a press conference, when Joel Embiid calls out his coach in a press conference. You can feel it when Doc Rivers is pressed in an interview when they ask him about how he's blown 3 different 3-1 series leads and is halfway to blowing a 3-0 series lead. You can feel the tension there. You can feel the tension that when the 76ers are only down by 11 points with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, fans are already leaving the Wells Fargo Center as if there's a fire drill going on. You feel the pressure. You feel the panic within the team. You can hear it in the voices of Philadelphia media personnel. That is how the Sixers have already lost this series, even if they go on to win the series. And right now, the Raptors, based out of all these factors, we're playing with no pressure. If the Raptors do lose this series in 6 games, which they may not do, I mean, I feel really good about them winning the game tonight. If the Raptors do lose this series in 6 games, we know we're good. We have such a bright future. We trust the core that we have in place. I'm not sure 76ers fans can do the same. We trust the young players getting better consistently year after year. And one of the biggest things is that we trust Pascal Siakam to be the best player on this team and rise up to the occasion in these big moments. We can now trust that about this team, and that is so good. Such a good feeling to go into the offseason with. It would be even better to create history of becoming the first team to overturn a 3-0 series deficit. That reality is really starting to dawn on 76ers fans. And the Raptors, who have been so dominant in the last couple of games, if the 76ers don't make the necessary adjustments to combat the big lineups the Raptors are throwing at them, the switchability and the really good rotations the Raptors are displaying at this point, the 76ers, they need to make a ton of adjustments. And if they don't make those adjustments tonight with the Raptors having their home crowd behind them, they're going to lose this game 6. And just imagine the feeling of that game 7. Like, that can be arguably the craziest game in NBA history. Just imagine the sheer amount of tension within that building. The 76ers players knowing what's at stake for just the team in general, what the team would look like in the next season if they actually lost the game. The Raptors feeling confident, knowing that they've already done so much, that even if they lose, they've accomplished so much in this series and in this season. The 76ers fans who had to succumb to Kawhi Leonard's 4-bounce shot in Game 7 of the conference semifinals in 2019. All of these emotions are going to just form together, and it's just going to be such a surreal experience to see. I sincerely hope we get to that point, and I'm feeling good with the Raptors winning tonight. They've been dominant. They know how to play against this Sixers offense, and they're playing with that home crowd. I'm back them to force a Game 7. We'll see what happens. But what I know is that 76ers fans are panicking, and they should be. They should be afraid of what's at stake at this point, because the Raptors are really in a good position to force a Game 7. So I know it's pretty much all Raptors fans here, but how do you think 76ers fans are feeling at this point? What have you seen from the media in general? Let me hear your thoughts and opinions, and let's start the discussion in the comments down below, because that is it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please drop a like if you did enjoy. It goes a long way to supporting the channel. And I mean, if you're still here watching at the end of the video, clearly you did enjoy. Let's get to 200 likes on this video, and make sure for the greatest coverage and analysis on the latest Toronto Raptors news, you are subscribed to Amateur Hour Sports. And tonight, we're doing a watch party on Twitch, twitch.tv/AmateurHour Sports for this Game 6. We'll start 30 minutes before the opening tip. Make sure you're coming to hang out. I'll give you my play-by-play and commentary and chat with you guys all throughout the game. I cannot wait, and I hope to see you there. And I'll see you again next time, as always, for another video.